Okay, so do we know what is the topic of discussion today?
Yeah, it's regarding the 12th board, those who have failed.
Yes, people who have
Yes.
failed in 12th board, ab
Yeah,
career mein kya kare? Yes.
right.
Okay, so hello everyone, welcome to today's workshop. And this is Nidhi Rathod here. I'm a trainer here at Infigon Futures. And for today's discussion, for today's workshop, what we are going to do is that I'm going to show you a case of Rahul, and he failed two subjects in his boards exam in 12th boards. We want to navigate this case. I want your input throughout about in your journey, have you ever faced a scenario like this, or if it was anything similar, or how do you think as a counselor you are navigating this? And of course, I'll be putting in my input as well throughout. So make sure your cameras are on and your mics are working because I look forward to having a fruitful conversation with everyone. Okay, I'm going to present the case study to everyone. Let's quickly read through this. This case is of Rahul, who is 18 years old. Rahul has just received his 12th grade board exam result and has failed in two subjects. His friends have all passed and here applying to colleges. His parents are extremely disappointed, and Rahul feels like a complete failure. He has lost confidence, avoids talking to people, and has mentioned there's no point in trying anymore. He's unsure whether he should appear for supplementary exams, repeat the year, or give it up altogether. Now, the presenting problem means what is the client has come to you with? What are they mainly complaining about? Apart from failing in 12th, that they have very low self-esteem. लग नहीं रहा है वो आगे कुछ कर पाएंगे. They are hopeless about the future. There is parental disappointment. Parents are of course very sad that this has happened. They failed a couple of subjects, and social withdrawal. That is, they're not talking to their friends right now. They're just being by themselves. Okay, so take a minute or two's time. Think, how are we going to approach this case? I want you to go step by step. what are what are your objectives with राहुल? जब राहुल आपके पास आएगा, आपको let's say call आया है एक parent का, we want to bring our child, and they have told you, but he's done his 12th but he failed two papers, so we want to career counseling. Now I want you to make a plan. How are you going to approach Rahul? What are you going to tell him? And what are your session objectives with Rahul? And how are you also going to talk to parents? Are we talking to with both the parties? Are we talking one by one? Take 5 minutes time, make a rough plan, and let's discuss. Okay. I want you to unmute and tell me what have you thought about Rahul, and what do you think is going to happen? How are we going to help this child?
Hello.
Yes, Anita.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. So I'll just give you a brief, like what I feel that can be done in this case. Okay.
Mhm.
The first thing would be that we have a initial session with Rahul. Okay.
Mhm.
uh, we just to make him do a small rapport building session, or maybe
Mhm.
a emotional supportive session, okay, where we can always assure Rahul that we are here to help him out. So it's okay if if he has failed two subjects. It's not a great deal. I mean, of course not that way, but yeah, it's like we understand that he's failed, but that's not the end of the world. Okay, there are a lot of other things that can definitely be explored, and just give him some examples of people who have failed multiple times, and still they are successful in their individual space and stuff like that. Okay, and ask him basically that which are the subjects he failed, understand the reasons, means what happened, what went wrong, and the other on the other side also explore the subjects which he likes, and where are his strengths in those subjects, something on those lines. So that could probably be a first session. Okay, then there could be an other session where we are counseling the parents as well, and we are asking the parents to be supportive to Rahul. Okay, show empathy to him, and do not compare him with other children, or with the society, because every individual is in itself capable of good things in life. So just to understand what are his strengths and encourage him towards that. Okay, so basically also try to explain to the parents, that in case if he's failed, so there are options whether he could, go ahead and give the exams again, or maybe we could plan on another action plan parallel to that, something on those lines. Then there could be another session where, we are talking about the strategy. Okay, what could be the strategy for him, whether he wants to, repeat the year, give supplementary exams, or look out for alternatives that he can explore and do a career for himself. Okay, so for that we can probably do the psychometric test at this point of time to understand his strengths. And then probably there could be another session depending upon the report that has come up, as to, you know uh, I mean, take it forth from there, that what are the top 4 or 5 career options that have come up for him, and what are the option, I mean, within that career options, what are the things that he can do, and, then do a short or a long term, probably action plan. And in each and every session, try and show empathy towards Rahul and be supportive towards him. And yeah, so that's something I would plan out with Rahul.
Definitely. That sounds like a wonderful plan. We'll add more to this. We'll add more details to this plan. I see the structure is how Anita ma'am has planned is very, clear in terms of that we need to have a separate session with Rahul and his parents. Does anyone else think that it is necessary to keep it two separate sessions, or we can take joint sessions and keep tackling the case? Any other opinions? Yes, Kritika.
Yeah, hi. Hi Nidhi. Hello everyone. Good evening. Like even Anita ma'am said, separate sessions are advised. I think even I would go with that first, because I think when the child, already has lost confidence and is having low self-esteem, it's better that first he feels comfortable and he's not under pressure that, okay, parents say, "Hey, so I have to say this only or that. Because sometimes it's like, we can't really be fully open at that age. We are still understanding, we are still maturing.
Yeah.
So that's a very
Yeah.
tender kind of age, where there is a lot of peer pressure. So it's better if they have someone they can. And see, in first session, he might not even open up fully. But if we can try to first be, normal to him and tell him that it's okay and it happens with everyone in their
Mhm.
own respective ways.
Mhm.
But the key
Yes.
point is like, that what we do after that. So if we want, we can give a supplementary exam. If we want, we can, like she rightly said, after the 2 sessions, we can take a psychometric test and also decide, what are his interests wherein he can grow more. But the first session with Rahul is very mandatory, which should, even in my suggestion, should be done alone. And
Yes.
second with the parent. And mainly also to motivate him and give empathy. Both are important. But be positive and try to have a good atmosphere and environment.
Yes, very important that we are having a very first one-on-one session with Rahul. We are being empathetic and we are building that rapport with him that it's okay. And we are going to navigate the situation. Yes, Sarah.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
I totally agree with the previous ones, what they have said that we should be empathetic with Rahul. But my question is little different. Other than showing empathy and encouraging him to study, what are the other options as a counselor we can suggest to him? If in case he
Okay.
doesn't want to study, he is not into
Mhm.
studies like that, that
Mhm.
what are the alternate options we can
Yes.
suggest? I'm curious about that.
Yes, we'll cover that as well. First of all, I want to, I'm going step by step. So we are going to first deeply understand of how to approach Rahul and how to even talk to his parents, and then we'll also move towards that. Okay, there is a situation that has to be managed, and 12th standard failing will have some implications. So how are we going to help him? Because if academics is not working out well for him, there has to be other areas that he can build his career in. So definitely we are going to cover that as well. Okay. So one thing that we'll bring to our notice is that he has failed 2 papers. If he would have failed around 3 papers, 3 or more papers, then that would mean, first of all, repeat of the whole year. You can't be failing 3 or more than 3 papers in your boards. That is one thing that is to be kept in mind as a counselor. And knowing technicalities like that, the supplementary exams are conducted in June to July. जून जुलाई में तो re-exam will happen for the failed subject, and the student has to cover up from there, right? The somewhere there'll be tweaks according to the boards. For mostly for state CBSE, this is going to be remaining same. But CBSE and ICSE specifically, you can't, if you're failing only one subject, then only you can reappear. If you're failing more than one subject, then you have to repeat the whole year. So it is mainly SSC board which allows you to give to three papers again. And there are only 2 to 3 attempts allowed. You can't give more than 3 attempts in the same paper. Yes, Sarul, you've raised your hand again, but you have not lowered your hand.
Ma'am,
Okay,
I
I
just
think
want
the
to
hand
ask,
is.
if there any option in the CBSE that matlab Rahul, if he wants to appear for more than two exams, so they will be conducted in the same timeline, June or July, or will they be
So
conducted in separate?
in CBSE,
Yes.
ICSE, you are only allowed to, fail in one subject. अगर दो सब्जेक्ट हो भी गए फेल तो पूरा ही रिपीट करना है. यू कैन गिव ओनली अप टू 3 अटेम्प्ट्स दैट ऑल्सो. अगर वो 3 अटेम्प्ट्स में भी एक पेपर क्लियर नहीं हुआ तो पूरा साल रिपीट करना है.
Okay.
So one thing with Rahul is that we have emphasized that we have to be very empathetic towards him. We have to be very non-judgmental. That in this crucial age, clearing out your boards, he has flunked 2 papers. One thing we have to gauge here is the child notorious? Otherwise, also they have been failing papers, or is this the first time it has happened, right? Because was the child ill? Was it some family difficulties because of which the child has failed? So definitely, if that was the case, then we still take the academic route wherein he's reappearing for his papers. We are fully focusing on, motivating him, being empathetic towards him, helping him understand that it happened and it is complete, not your complete fault. There are other factors to play as well. But if it is because he is, really not interested in studying and he has a history of flunking papers even before, then we have to keep in mind that something has to be done for this child where the career is not heavily based on education, right? Regardless, I want you to make the first session very safe for the child. Your body language, everything that you're conveying has to be in a very gentle tone. At any point, we shouldn't be asking, so what are your friends saying? Is there, is everyone judging you? You can ask that later in the session when there is some rapport. But when the child has come, I would want you to say something like, Rahul, I'm really glad you've come here and you chose to seek career counseling with me. Before exams, I just wanted to see how are you doing? What is going on with you lately? Because you see, the complaint is also that the child is socially withdrawn. So probably they're not talking to their friends because they have passed. And those people are doing well. They're seeking out admission, they're having vacations. This child still has to study. So first question is asking about that. If the child appears really depressed to you, ask how are they doing lately. Don't completely jump to the career part of it. And धीरे धीरे we can shift our focus, as Anita ma'am had highlighted, that we can give examples about people who have also failed in their careers, right? It's not that successful people have not seen failures, but they do learn from their failures before, climbing that ladder of success. You can share examples about, Sachin Tendulkar. You can share examples about Walt Disney. Walt Disney was told that he does not have an imagination. Today, we know that there is a Disney channel and we've all grown up watching Disney, right? So it does not stop there with the failure. And this counseling will happen eventually when Rahul has started trusting you, when Rahul has started telling you about how are they doing in their day, uh, what is it that is occupying them, are there any disturbing thoughts with them, are they really, just sitting in their room by themselves, or are they even talking to people around? Right? Once we've gauged that, we slowly inquire about so what went down, what subjects did you find difficult? Was it that the paper was tough? We do put that option in front of the child to think that even, is it that it is really about their capabilities or was the paper genuinely tough? Was there some other factors? After a thorough inquiry towards that, we help Rahul understand that it's just one result and this is not going to define your journey. Yes, there will be some setbacks, but I want you to understand that they are manageable and we will bounce back from this. Okay? Which means so far, everyone, does this make sense? This first session, how it will look with Rahul? Yes? Yes, Ritika has raised her hand.
More than three papers if a child fails. In
Yes,
SCP, the child has to
yes,
repeat, and in ICCBC, it's more than one.
yes.
And the repeat exams are only in June,
And
July, or also in September.
mostly in June, July, but in some boards, maybe because of Corona, all the timelines are still a little bit here and there. It can happen in September as well, but mostly it happens in June, July.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
And understand with particular states also it might be differing, but mostly three or more. If you failed in state board, you have to repeat the year. Okay.
Yeah, so that time we can find out on the internet only, na, what's the exact thing
Yes.
going on. That,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. Clear with me with the first session, of course, having it with one-on-one first with Rahul, and then understanding what is the parental perspective that, because parents will also have their mindset about the child. Because they fail to subject, it won't be like, if they know it is because of something else, then they'll tell you that he was really ill. Maybe there was some operation that happened, or family situation was, something was really happening in the family that kept him disturbed, or something like that. So, he's still. But if they are notorious, parents will also come in with a lot of complaints, right? I want you to approach the parents also, in a way where, you're asking the parent that how do you feel about it? Has Rahul ever failed in previous classes? How are they as a child? In your house, what are they doing? And do they spend time more with their friends, or they come back home and study? Right? They might also come with a lot of frustration. But I want you to remember that we don't badmouth about the child with them. We ask more and more questions in terms of understanding what is it that about the child was not sitting right with them, or they are unhappy about. Asking open-ended and non-judgmental questions will be your best tool in such scenarios. Even with Rahul, I want you to ask more about, before both exams, what were you doing? How were you preparing? How was your preparation? Maybe the child does not know how to study properly. So if that is something, so it's not more in terms of child's capacity, but it's his learning style. So keep in account that there can be more factors than just blaming the child that they are notorious. And when you have done this, I want you to emphasize the standardized process that we have with Infigon. You have been taught that after the first session, the child is encouraged to take the psychometric test. Maybe not after the first session here, but perhaps by second session, you would encourage the child to take the psychometric test and see what the results look like. Okay. And in the meantime, I want you to tell Rahul to study for the next exam as well as do something for himself, be it journaling, be it playing a sport, or at least some time off where he's making an attempt and going and talking to people. Because if he stays, hopeless and socially withdrawn, that means he is not going to be able to focus and study. It may seem a little offbeat for asking the child to spend a little bit time with friends here, but we don't want them bashing themselves up and beating themselves down that they are a failure. So encourage a little bit social interaction, and as well as some scheduled time for study. Okay, we'll also try to make a monthly planner for Rahul as we go ahead with this discussion. If the parents are also very disappointed, I wanted to prepare Rahul to talk to their parents and communicate that he understands that they are disappointed and he's trying to figure out, and he's going to work it out with the counselor. This way parents will also feel assured. You won't have a lot of conflicts coming in even after 2, 3 sessions with the clients, because one major thing is, if parents are really upset, that fury is not going to go down, and we don't want parents to be in that state again and again when they are approaching you. So keep in mind that you are facilitating some conversation between Rahul and parent as well, wherein they are in the loop. So now let's do like a week-wise or month-wise thing where we are looking at how can we help Rahul navigate his, time frame and how to reappear for exams and everything. In the first week, I want to stabilize Rahul, that he needs to be emotionally stable. So encourage more of journaling, or helping mom with cooking, or helping someone else. Some act of kindness wherein he feels a little uplifted, because right now he's very low and we don't want him to sit by himself. So encourage talking to other people, encourage helping someone. He can maybe, slowly take up a volunteering thing wherein he is going and talking to other people. There are NGOs for students who have low IQ. We can even encourage him to go and interact with those students. There are volunteers needed in such places. So since he is 19, he can do that volunteering for maybe 1 month or 1 or 2 weeks, wherein he'll see that there is hope for everyone. So I really want you to work with Rahul's hope a lot and encourage him to do things where he is connected with other people. And second one, by coming to the second or fourth week, when the child is a little more stable, I want you to come down to academics, right? Because it is going to be crucial. For academics, I want you to see what are the subjects that the child has failed and make a plan that how is this child going to, cover in this. If there is a tutor, of course, you can keep them in loop, but at least have a idea about how is this child studying. You don't need to make a routine and everything, but at least guide him in terms of how is he going to approach his study. Right, his study pattern needs to be right. There needs to be some breaks in when he's studying, and he needs to study at least for 45 minutes or 20 minutes in one go, wherein he's doing focused work. By the time that he's come to a second month, if he needs more coaching or he's reflected that okay, he's still trying but there are still more doubts, then encourage him to join some classes elsewhere if the previous classes are not working out. Because एक महीना देख लिया आपने, थोड़े टाइम में एग्जाम आने वाला है. I want you to prepare him to be doing well in his exams, right? So see if elsewhere he can study from, if you can provide any reference material, if you know someone who's very good in that subjects, or any way that we can gauge these two subjects for this child. Maybe not always through your contacts, but any reading material, anything available on YouTube that someone teaches well, right? That such material can be shared with Rahul. Parallelly, if this child you think is not going to be doing well in his exams, and this is the general trend, let's take this scenario, then I want you to encourage him into taking some skill building programs or doing internships. Because he's 18 now, he can start working. If academics is not the route and he's not knowing where to go, after he's given his supplementary exam at least once, and if he still feels down, I wanted to encourage him to do at least part-time work and see in what areas is he finding interest. Make sure that this work is more in terms of doing something hands-on, or like like a digital course, digital marketing. There are these influencers today. You don't need education for this, right? Anything which is not based on academics but very skill heavy is what we are going to look out for. Make sure that if you're taking further sessions, you are in touch with is he keeping up with his timetable? Is he working on skill building as well? But make sure we're introducing this one by one, not everything in one go. When the child seems more and more stable, if he has picked up the rhythm of the previous given homework, only then introduce these new tasks. So even after this child is taking up, something academic after this, I would encourage him to initially, do something simpler than rather than taking up something like a very BSc degree. At least try for BCom or look out for BMF or maybe event management, wherein he has to do more of hands-on work. We can get him into like photography, graphic designing के भी courses होते हैं. You need to do those courses, and then you can do freelance. This is also one avenue for Rahul. They can they can work, in technical things like repairing mobiles or computer hardwares. This child is coming from a really, background where nobody else is bothered about his education. Then technical things such as, repair work or something like that can be suggested for the child. If they are coming from a upper middle background, then definitely the parents are going to be very resistant. Hospitality is also one area that the child can explore. Yes, Kritika.
So this we have to suggest after the report is generated.
After the report, keeping in mind what is the child's background like.
Okay, what's his interest and everything, and then we have to
Yes.
suggest.
Yes. Okay. Other than this, we can also, suggest things like learning languages because, that is something that becoming an English tutor. They are very much required in Asian countries, in Russia and Japan, where people are not very fluent with English. So if Rahul, let's say, has a good command on English, we can also suggest him to build his proficiency in English, give the competitive exams, clear his A1, A2 levels of English, and then he can even teach English in these areas. And whatever the country guidelines are for English tutor, he can meet those areas and pursue a career of that sort. And if nothing is working out, or they just want to start working, they don't want to get into academics or anything at all, then for time being, they can even join something like, like a BPO thing, wherein you're getting some salary. If the family is really, having financial difficulties and they really want the child to start working, even if the child has failed 12th, they don't have enough money to, invest in the child again or have hope for him when they are coming from a lower socioeconomic background. So there are other areas like logistics and BPOs and even retail sectors. We see these people. It's not like any menial job. You're really helping people doing sales for a new product which is there in DMart or of sorts. So ऐसे भी आप राहुल को career suggest कर सकते हो. Any doubts for Rahul's suggestions and everything that we have covered?
Yeah, actually, if the report, whatever the suggestions you have given are absolutely perfect, but if the report doesn't show like that, then how do we take it? Report is showing something else. Sometimes it might happen. How do we give the suggestion based on the report or based on our understanding of his background and
Yeah,
all?
that is why I emphasize that understand the background of the child. Factors like socioeconomics, उसके घर पे, is he going to be the breadwinner soon? Is the parents not well educated? फिर उसको, report में भी, even if there is some potential for, academics, I want you to parallelly start skill building. Because if anything happens again, if the family situation is not good enough, or in, if you think that the child is not going to be able to study further, और जो फील्ड्स आ रही है रिपोर्ट में उसके लिए उसको मास्टर्स ग्रेजुएशन तक की पढ़ाई करनी पड़ेगी, बट द चाइल्ड डज नॉट हैव अ स्टैंडिंग वेयर ही कैन कीप अपियरिंग फॉर एग्जाम्स एंड एक्सेल इन स्टडीज. बिकॉज लेट्स बी ऑनेस्ट, जब
Yeah,
यू कमिंग
right.
फ्रॉम अ बैकग्राउंड लाइक दैट, कोई घर में पढ़ा नहीं रहा है, दे कैन नॉट अफोर्ड अ लॉट ऑफ ट्यूशन फीस आल्सो. तो वहां पे स्किल्स की तरफ करो फोकस. इट्स नॉट लाइक दे डोंट अर्न, right? Careers are everywhere. We may have a notion that for middle class and upper middle class that we offer them mainly academic careers, but when the child is as such that they cannot afford or they are not really good with academics, let's say Rahul has some IQ related issues also. They have mildly less IQ. अगर ये चीज भी आपको पता है इसके साथ, then definitely focus on skill building.
Hmm.
Okay. But if the child you think has the capacity from your rapport building, that is why I always emphasize that your rapport building and your initial questioning has to be very rigorous in terms of understanding कि ये failure आया कहाँ से है. Once you have gauged that, only then see what are the factors that you're going to consider. If you think the child is going to be able to study, definitely rely more on the report. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Because
Any other
recently,
questions?
just the day before, I have got a student. He is
Hmm.
little less IQ than the normal students.
Does he have a certificate for the same, saying that he is having mild IDD?
So because the coaching classes where he goes to NIOS, actually he's studying from NIOS, and
Okay.
the teacher there, she had actually referred him to me that he is
Hmm.
not at par with the normal students. So he's a quite a slow
Hmm.
learner and little difficult. So he is actually
Hmm.
NIOS has the flexibility of
Yes.
having subjects and like that. So he is learning
Hmm.
English, Hindi, German, and something else. So science
Hmm.
and arts and commerce, nothing like that. So he had
Yeah.
taken the test just 2 days ago. I am yet
Hmm.
to do his counseling, but when I
Hmm.
interacted with the student as well as with the parents, I could get that he's quite a slow learner because I had to explain him the meaning of each and every question when he was taking the
Hmm.
test. While counseling him, I would need some insights and some guidance from you. Maybe Monday
Yeah.
I'll be counseling him. Yeah.
So likewise, you see this person, even NIOS, they'll give more language subjects to these students, right? Because
Yeah.
language का ना हमारा brain ही अलग होता है. We work on left and right brain. तो
Yeah.
ये जो दूसरे subjects है ना उसके लिए हमें more we have to rely on our right side of the brain.
Correct.
And language is more on the left side of the brain. So ये area में ज़्यादा बच्चे को दिक्कत नहीं है. Picking up on language is not going to be that difficult for the child as compared to learning and memorizing theories and constructs. जो
Right.
अदरवाइज स्कूल में इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम इज वेरी हैवी ऑन थियोरीज, राइट? वो
Actually,
हमें
yeah.
पता होना चाहिए कैसे हो, एप्लीकेशन इतना ज्यादा नहीं है इसके लिए. दोज NIOS people give more languages as compared to students. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
language is one thing that he can get into. If he's doing well with German, English, Hindi, let him excel in languages.
Yeah.
And I will emphasize on skill building because slow learner up, that means it is an organic problem with the child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even if he gives his best, his brain is taking it slowly. So we don't
Yeah.
emphasize आपसे क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, ये क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो. Definitely not giving heavy careers like science backgrounds or commerce also for that. If they are from well-to-do family, event management, something on those lines, and I've suggested
Mm-hmm.
three careers right now. Those careers he'll definitely do well in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. I would say do let him see the report. अब देखो report में क्या आया है, and then take also a call in terms of as a career counselor, giving more skill-based career suggestions.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other doubts?
You were just saying ना that जब तक वो IQ टेस्ट का रिजल्ट नहीं है, but you were saying that in the for the left and the right brain, you're saying for the left brain at least languages and all gets easier. So if we tell him to learn the languages, but how do we know, because see, not all languages are easy for everyone. So I just have to tell him to, take some course, like some course or something to understand or like how to go about that.
So yes, definitely not all languages are easy, but what I can personally suggest here is one is Duolingo app. It is free of cost. You can tell the child to see, as in when you're taking sessions, to take up a language of their choice and 1 week and see how is their interest in it. जब तक आपने उसकी onboarding करी है, आप report reading, आपने उसने report reading कर रहे हो. In this process, at least 1 week's time will go, right? So I want you to see how are they, liking learning new language and only gauge based on their experience. If they are like, no, this is also very difficult to keep up with, then skill building is another option. Okay. But if you think they're able to do it, ask them, even if it's not Duolingo, you can ask them to see YouTube videos online, try learning small phrases. Is it something that is interesting them? Even what do we call this? Communicating with your hands, right? Non-verbal communication. They can see whether they're liking learning languages. And one thing I would always say, IQ पे comment करने के पहले check whether the parent has a certification. क्योंकि if their IQ is really low, they would consistently be performing slow. They will be a slow learner throughout. So parents at some point would have gone to a counselor and उसकी testing IQ testing करा के certificate दिया होगा government से. So I want you to check. ऐसे ही पेरेंट्स कमेंट कर रहे हैं IQ पे because he is notorious, he is learning slowly, he is having problems, or does he actually have a certificate for low IQ? And even in low IQ, there are levels. I wouldn't recommend you working with someone who is having very, very low IQ, profoundly low IQ, around 30 and even 20. It's very difficult to work. Only mild cases I would encourage that you take up. Even if it is moderate, the child is going to have very high levels of difficulties. I'm sure they won't even get till 12. They would be already doing modes of skills. उनको फिर उनकी schools अलग होती है, right? उनको ये सब सिखाता है, culinary, cooking, baking, gardening.
What was that thing that you said? 25 to 30, like, तो कभी लेना और
So,
कभी नहीं.
so one thing I'll tell you is IQ एक bell graph पे होता है and 90 to 100 is the average IQ सबका. You and me, other people also, will somewhere fall between 90 to 110. अब जब वो 80 से कम होते जाएगा 80 90 की तरफ, that means more and more IQ problem. And towards 30 and 20, it's profound IQ. You will see those people might not even register you talking. They'll be just sitting zoned out. You will see some sort of impairment in them. You don't have to necessarily get into the technicalities of IQ, I would say, but just that certification will mention. आपको only if it is some, between 70 to 80, some mild IQ cases where the child is able to talk, they have been able to go to school so far, then it's going to be well and good for you to deal. And preferably, I would say keep a school counselor in you because they would know the child's history of performance so far. क्योंकि वो बार-बार बच्चा जाता होगा school counselor के पास. Okay, then I believe we have no other questions. I hope this workshop was a good learning experience for you in terms of managing this case. If you have anything else that in your current counseling that you're navigating with, you're having difficulties with, we can definitely arrange a workshop for it. right? We'll be having weekly workshops from now on. Flyers for the same will be circulated soon. My email was there on the flyer. If you have any more questions, do write to me. I will respond on the email. Okay. Have a good evening, everyone, and bye bye. Take care.